So for the last chapter under MBA 200, we have presenting research findings. So for today's topic outline, we have effective communication strategies for different stakeholders, creating compelling research presentations, and public speaking and presentation skills. So, presenting research findings. Presenting the results of a study serves as a valuable means to obtain constructive criticism and evaluation of one's scholarly endeavors. Sociologists of a professional caliber frequently engage in the practice of delivering presentations to their colleagues as a preliminary step towards the more formal process of documenting and ultimately disseminating their research findings. Presentations encompass various formats, including formal lectures delivered as part of a panel at a professional conference or to a group of peers or interested individuals. So, in writing presentation of results or written presentation of results, one way of presenting your research finding is through the written presentation. What should be found in the written presentation are the following. There should be an introduction, literature review, method, results, discussion, and references. So for under introduction, the introduction section presents contextual information regarding the issue under examination. Commencing an academic piece with a concise tale serves the purpose of captivating the reader's attention and providing them with an understanding of the topic's inherent interest. By the conclusion of the introduction section, it is expected that the reader will have an understanding of the subject matter at hand, its relevance as a communication, the rationale behind the necessity of conducting an investigation on it. For literature review, this serves the purpose of summarizing and organizing pertinent books, papers, and other research materials within the specific field. The research design encompasses both quantitative and qualitative methodologies, hence establishing the necessity of the conducting of the study. For methods, this employed in this study encompasses the systematic procedures and techniques utilized by the researchers to address the research topic, elucidating the actions taken to arrive at a solution. The methods part of the research paper should provide a detailed description of the strategies employed to test the study and hypothesis. For results, upon conclusion of the study, the outcomes will be documented in the results section and in the context of a quantitative study. The purpose of the results section is to revisit the formulated hypothesis and present an analysis of whether the obtained results align with or contradict these hypotheses. For the discussion, this researchers often refer to this part as a conclusion. Basically, the outcomes of the study align or support the conclusion of the previous scholarly works. It is important to acknowledge and mention this correspondence. For references, in this area, it is imperative that all material mentioned in the text be accompanied with complete references arranged in alphabetical order. So, the effective communication strategies for different stakeholders. Basically, effective communication with stakeholders is essential for the successful execution of a project. The comprehension of a stakeholder and effective communication strategies is crucial whether embarking on a new project management position, managing a business communication strategy, or initiating a novel project. Engaging with stakeholders encompasses a diverse array of communication modalities, spanning from periodic gatherings to soliciting opinion through surveys to disseminating information via electronic email. So first, the important things to consider when communicating with stakeholders is to facilitate and establish consensus. The facilitation and communication among stakeholders is of utmost importance in the process of establishing consensus. Basically, the active listening strategies is of utmost importance in order to ascertain that one's audience, whether it be an individual or a collective, may verify that their requirements, perspectives, and features are being heard and comprehended. Next, employ media and messaging in a proficient manner. So the utilization of various media platforms, including emails, phone conversations, and video conferencing, might provide advantageous outcomes when engaging with stakeholders. The effectiveness of communication with stakeholders can be enhanced by selecting the appropriate media, which may prove more advantageous than conventional face-to-face approach, contingent upon the specific circumstances. So strategize and execute presentations in a professional manner. Engaging in a proactive planning is consistently advisable when engaging in communication with stakeholders. In the course of conducting advanced planning, it is advisable to proactively anticipate future concerns or inquiries and equip oneself with prepared responses prior to engaging in talks. Develop a structured arrangement for the sequence in which topics will be given. Articulate the value propositions associated with each topic and outline the desired results that are anticipated to be achieved. It is imperative to communicate with clarity and confidence while disseminating information, as this will demonstrate the stakeholders and confidence while disseminating information, as this will demonstrate stakeholders your expertise in the subject matter and inspire trust in your capabilities as a project manager. Okay, so effectively oversee and navigate both official and informal engagement and relationships. The incorporation of a combination of formal and informal engagement strategies is crucial in the process of determining the appropriate timing and methods for disseminating project-related information, updates, and developments to all relevant stakeholders. Next, take charge of and actively engage in meetings. Meetings serves as a platform for the exchange of information, solicitation, feedback, and facilitation of the decision-making process. When strategizing the scheduling of project-related meetings, it is imperative to establish a comprehensive understanding of one's designated position and responsibilities. And lastly, you need to effectively handle, mitigate, and adjust conflict situations. In situations where conflicts emerge among stakeholders, it is crucial to maintain and compose and impartial demeanor while effectively mitigating any heightened sentiments or emotions. Emphasizing the pursuit of answers rather than attributing blame can effectively expedite problem-solving processes and mitigate potential conflicts among individuals engaged in the discourse. Now, let's proceed to creating compelling research presentations. So, to start with, we have here more is more. In broad sense, it can be argued that one presentations can consistently derive advantages from increased practice, feedback, and revision. Engaging in rehearsal sessions with peers can facilitate the development of a sense of ease and confidence in delivering one's work, alongside the opportunity to receive constructive criticism. Concepts and notions that appear self-evident to an individual may be entirely unfamiliar to another person, perhaps resulting in a lack of resonance with the carefully constructed delivery of information. Less is more. It is advisable to restrict the extent of your presentation, the quantity of slides employed, and the amount of text contained on each slide. Based on personal observations, it has been seen that textual content serves as an effective tool for structuring presentation slides, providing the audience with an introduction to essential terminology and adding explanatory notes to significant visuals. Next, limit the scope of your presentation. It is improbable to adequately present the entirety of one semester-long or year-long research within a limited time frame. Instead, direct your attention onto the main points of emphasis. The present study aims to identify a singular and compelling research issue that has been addressed in the course of this work. Okay, now let's proceed to the different public speaking and presentation skills. So first, you need to understand the target audience. So various audiences necessitate distinct techniques of public speaking. The manner in which one addresses a room comprising toddlers differs significantly from the approach employed while addressing a gathering of academics at an academic conference. Understanding your audience is a crucial factor in determining the substance of your speech, and acknowledging the level of familiarity that your audience possesses about the subject matter enables you to focus your presentation on the crucial aspects while minimizing the expenditure of time on redundant material. Next, developing a strong ethos and cultivating confidence in one's chosen subject matter are essential components in academic discourse. It is imperative to communicate to one's audience the extent of one's expertise and knowledge in a given topic area. The establishment of ethos can be facilitated by possessing a sense of confidence in one's chosen field of expertise. Instead of relying just on rote memorization of the information presented in your PowerPoint slides or note cards, adopt the perspective of knowledgeable authority on your chosen subject matter. Next, it is advisable to adhere to a limited number of primary argument or ideas. The act of arranging information in a coherent manner has the dual purpose of aiding the speaker in maintaining clarity and enabling the listener to comprehend the content being presented. It is advisable to place emphasis on a select few key elements inside your presentation and thereafter revisit them prior to reaching a conclusion. Concluding your presentation by summarizing the material presented enables the audience to depart with a distinct comprehension of the key. Next, do not hesitate to express your individuality. So conveying facts devoid of embellishment or artistic flair may result in a lack of engagement. The act of expressing oneself through verbal communications fosters a sense of relaxation and authenticity. Even when discussing topics of a scientific or serious nature, it is advisable to seek opportunities to infuse one's speech with personal characteristics and traits. Next, you can incorporate humor judiciously, taking into account the appropriateness of the context. So incorporating comedy at suitable junctures can effectively sustain the engagement and amusement of one's audience. Although comedy may not be suitable for every situation, it is advisable to identify opportunities where humor can be employed to alleviate tension and introduce a light-hearted atmosphere. Next, it is imperative to ensure that visual aids do not serve as distraction over the course of a presentation. Yes, in many instances, presentations are complemented by the inclusion of visual aids such as PowerPoints or handouts. When formulating visual aids, it is imperative to ensure that they do not divert attention away from the substantive aspects of one's oral presentation. The presence of an excessive number of pictures or animations may divert the attention of audience members towards the visual elements to potentially detracting from the focus of the spoken content being presented. Next, it is vital to maintain mindfulness regarding of one's body. In the context of delivering a presentation, the significance of nonverbal communication is on par with the content being conveyed. So the incorporation of proper posture, gestures, and movement serves to enhance the verbal components of one's presentation. So these should be the things that you should consider when presenting: your posture, your eye contact, your refrain from engaging in distracting or compulsive gestures, and travel if you can. Meaning, just don't stand on one position or on one area. Number 8, practice if you can. The distinction between possessing knowledge in a certain subject and engaging in rehearsal lies in the manner in which one finally delivers the material. So, increased rehearsal has been found to correlate with a higher probability of reducing the usage of filler words such as like. If feasible, it is recommended to engage in practice sessions with a companion wherein they can assist in identifying and quantifying the usage of filler words employed by you. And lastly, ultimately, it is important to achieve a state of relaxation. Yes, you need to be relaxed. So while delivering a public speech, it necessitates adequate time and preparation. It is crucial to emphasize the significance of maintaining a state of relaxation during the act of speaking. So the level of relaxation experienced by an individual is directly proportional to the degree of confidence with which their information is conveyed. Alright, so that ends our discussion for today. These are our references. Thank you and good day.